A manhunt continues in Maine for the alleged gunman in a deadly mass shooting.
Police say the 40-year-old man opened fire in 2 locations last night, and right now the death toll stands at 18, with more than a dozen people hurt. A shelter-in-place order remains in effect after the deadliest U.S. mass shooting since the school massacre in Uvalde, Texas.
I suggest that you go. We have an active shooter, and we're not sure where he's at.
A tight-knit community on edge. A shelter-in-place ordered in a number of towns in Maine as heavily armed officers search for what they say is an armed and dangerous killer.
There is now arrest warrants for murder for this particular individual, Mr. Card. So he is viewed as a suspect, and there is a full court press by all of our partners to bring him into custody.
Police advise that Maine people should not approach him under any circumstances.
Chilling surveillance images have been released showing the moments the mass shooting suspect's deadly rampage began. First at a local bowling alley hosting a youth night for a kids' bowling league. Then traveling about 4 miles to the second scene at a restaurant.
Place to go have a good time and have fun. And then we get somebody that's crazy like that walk in and do what they did, you know.
I never thought I'd grow up and get a bullet in my leg. Like, why do people do this?
According to law enforcement, the suspect, 40-year-old Rob Card, a military-trained arms instructor, suffering from several mental health issues, including hearing voices, making threats to shoot up a National Guard base. In fact, he had been committed to a mental health facility over the summer.
Nerves are rattled right now.
Got it. Well, it's impossible to ever be fully prepared for a disaster or mass casualty event.
But we wanted to bring in our crime and safety expert, Darnell Blackburn, to break down some of the simple steps that we can take to try to keep our families safe if the worst were to happen. Darnell, first off, I just want to point out, we've got a very unusual situation here. We don't usually, I was just telling Kimberly, we don't usually see a mass shooting search for a suspect go on this long, right? This is unusual to have all these people still under such fear.
It's very unusual, Devin, and it's unusual for the mass shooting to occur in 2 different places like that.
Right.
You know, it's something that doesn't typically happen, but, you know, the issue is unfortunately not an if it'll happen, it's more of a when. And, you know, we don't want to alarm the viewers, but we have to be prepared for these types of situations and just be mindful that they could occur. So this is very, very disheartening on all levels.
So give us some tips. I mean, you know, what can you do? You can't really prepare yourself in a situation like this, or can you? Are there things that we need to be thinking about?
Yeah, there are some things, Kimberly. Mentally, you have to really just, you know, talk to your family about these types of things. Talk about knowing where the exits are, sitting where the exits are in the building. Unfortunately, that's the type of thing that we have to think about. Have a plan or a route. And, you know, when you're sitting near those exits, if you got to get out quick, you need to make sure that you're in a place where you guys can meet up or find a central location if you get separated.
In fact, I know that's a piece of advice you have as well. You have to have this plan of communication, how and when you're going to connect and where your family can get together again to have everybody on the same page.
Yeah, it's just something that's essential. And again, unfortunately, we have to talk about these types of things because, as we know, we've seen it happen here with Oxford and MSU. It can happen anywhere, and it's something that we just always have to think about.
Okay. All right, our crime and safety expert Darnell Blackburn giving us those tips. Hopefully we don't ever have to use them.
Yeah, but talk it out so that it's there. Yeah, exactly. All right, Darnell.